Great morning, you guys. How are you? Hello to our replay viewers. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, depending upon what time you are checking in with us. But what's happening? Listen, I am Demita McGee. If this is our first time meeting one another, what's going on? Listen, we are reviewing a book. If you just stumbled upon us, called Business Secrets from the Bible. And today, you guys, we are covering secret number 12. So to all of our loyal listeners or viewers, you guys, we are officially on secret number 12 today. Officially on secret number 12 today. And so great morning. Great morning. I see you out there. Hold on. Let me go ahead and log myself in as well. All right. And we are ready to go. So look, did I say secret 12? I mean secret 13. We are officially on secret 13, you guys. 13 out of 40. So we are reviewing secret number 13 today. So great morning to you. Grand, beautiful morning. I see you, Eugenia. Great morning, sunshine. How you doing, queen? Absolutely love it. She is here every day. She's like, hey, I'm getting this knowledge. It's going to happen. And so today, you guys, we are reviewing Secret 13, which specifically states to know how business works and understand specialization and cooperation. One of the things, that I really love about this book, you guys, is the fact that there are so many principles that build upon one another, and you are forced to really review them. What's up, Tasha? Congratulations. I saw your son graduated from high school. Get it, mama. I love it. Congratulations. Great job, Mom. Okay. And so, you guys, we are officially digging into understanding how business works, knowing how business works, and understanding specialization and cooperation. And so what I'm going to do really quick here is what I ask you guys to help me with every week, just about. And we're going to tag some friends of ours and let them know that we are officially live. What's going on, Laskaya? I see you. Great morning, sunshine. We're going to tag some friends and let them know we are live and we are in the flesh and we are ready to work. We are ready to go. Okay. And so they can join us when they are ready. Feel free to tag a friend or two. I appreciate you guys for doing so. And also tag an accountability partner, and we can dig into today. So I'm going to go ahead and get our prayer going. It is Monday. Y'all ready for a good week? Are you ready for an amazing, prosperous, phenomenal week? Because that's exactly what you have in store. I'm just saying, that's what's in store. So great morning, Father. Thank you so much for allowing us to see another day on this side of heaven. We just want to stop, take a moment and say thank you for allowing us, or for touching us with your finger of love one more time. God, as we rise this morning, you've already done things for us that it's absolutely impossible for us to do for ourselves. So there's no way we can go another second without thanking you. Because of you, we live. Because of you, we have our being. Because of you, God, we have a mind that wants to focus on you. Because of you, we seek and desire to love people even better. And so this morning, Father, it is no different. We come to you this morning because we want to get more of your wisdom. We come to you this morning. We come together this morning so we can learn more in your name. Father, we want to love the things that you love, and we really want to hate the things that you hate. So we desire to have a heart that is more like you. Every morning we come together. That is our purpose. And God, you told us that wherever two or more are gathered in your name, you would be in the midst. So Father, I know you are no short of your word. I know that if you said it, then it is. And so I know that this morning you are part of this conversation. And so what I'm asking you to do now, God, is move us out of the way so that you can pour into us. Open our hearts, open our minds, so you can just make spiritual deposits over and over and over and over. Move me to the side. Take over this study, Father. Move me to the side. Say what it is that you would want to say, God. And we thank you this morning for being present with us, imparting your wisdom. We're so grateful to have another day to get it right. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. 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 You guys, my nose is itching like crazy. So forgive me for rubbing so hard on camera. My goodness. It is itching like absolutely crazy these summer months. Oh, goodness. All right. Great morning again. This is my fresh out of the shower look. And We are ready to go. So y'all, let's dig into Secret 13. One of the things that I was saying earlier that I really like about this book is how things build upon one another. And so he really, really hits home. We're literally only 100 pages into this book. Just 100 pages. And we are officially, like I said, on Secret 13. And how many times have we heard about specialization already? How many times have we heard about cooperation already? How many times has he built upon that principle over and over and over? And so in this particular secret, in this chapter, he focuses on a couple of things. And so it's easy to miss that there are two things in this chapter that he's focusing on. And the title specifies them, but it's easy to miss them. One is understanding how business works and understanding how we are compensated as a business professional. And this is really big, right? And then again, understanding specialization and cooperation. Now, let's start with how business works. He says that there's this widespread belief among a lot of the general population that business is just unfair. It's just unfair. Now, if we stop for a second and we really think about this, really think about it. How many times have we thought something similar? Like, why are they doing so good? Like, maybe you never thought that business is just inherently unfair, but maybe you've thought things like, why are they doing so good in their business? I'm using the same business model, but I'm struggling. Have you ever thought something like that? And have you ever thought it was business that caused that to happen? And it wasn't necessarily you that caused it to happen, or me or us that caused those significant discrepancies in earnings, because we know that there are significant discrepancies in earnings, right? So have you ever thought that it's not me, it has to be business in general, like they're no better than me, right? And so what happens when we do that is we give away all of our power. It's like when we tell our children, take responsibility for the things that you've done wrong. When you take responsibility, now you can fix it. But when you don't, when it's something outside of you, you have zero control over that. Well, in business, we control the controllables, right? One of the things that we can control is understanding how business really works. So a lot of people think business is just inherently unfair, right? But the reality is, no, it isn't. It isn't. Laskaya said, I've thought, how are they doing it, period? And why don't I get it? That's such a great, honest answer. Such a great, honest answer. Man, I love that. Okay. How are they doing it? Why don't I get it? And so this is really good to understand that there are, when people say there are levels to this, I used to hate that because I'm like, okay, so what level am I on? Help me understand. What level am I on? How many levels are there? Just give me the book so I can understand how to get through level 1, then level 2, then level 3, and level 4, however many levels there are. But there is that reality that there are levels to business. Now, people feel like business is unfair, but what business really is, you guys, is it's a meritocracy. And he says that, and it is so true. It's a meritocracy. So what does that mean? That literally means, okay, so the definition, I wrote the definition because I always like to go to the definition. The definition of meritocracy is an elite group of people whose progress is based on ability and talent rather than class, privilege, or wealth. Okay? Progress is based on ability and talent rather than class, privilege, or wealth. Okay. Oh, this is a good one, Eugenia. Eugenia said, or the thought that they must be doing more that they aren't talking about. That's good. That's good. You're not the only one that's felt that way. Like, what am I missing? Basically, you guys are saying very, very similar things. What am I missing? Like, what are they doing that I don't get? What are they doing that they haven't shared with me? Like, what is missing? That's so good. Think about it in these terms. When we talk about a meritocracy, all right? Meritocracy. Tanisha's like, I looked it up too, okay? When we talk about a meritocracy, it's based upon your ability and your talent. It is not based upon your class, your privilege, or your wealth. All right. So the family you're born into doesn't matter. You don't have to be a descendant of Queen Elizabeth in order to do really well. That doesn't matter. Okay. But what it is based upon, business, What business is based upon is your ability, right, to master the skill set that's required to bring enough value to individuals that they are willing to pay you for it. Right? So it's based upon your abilities, and it's also based upon your talents. What do I mean, and why both? Talent, because there are some things that we are innately born with that we are just good at, and we don't even have to work real hard on. We're just real good at those things. Right? For me, public speaking. I do not have to work hard on public speaking. It is one of those things that comes natural for me. It does. Does that mean that I don't try to get better? That is not what that means, because I think you need to hone your talents too. However, there are some people, football is it is my favorite sport. Patrick Mahomes, that dude's a freak of freaking nature. Okay? He is the quarterback. If you do not watch football, he is the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. He is 3 years in the game now? Maybe 4. Honestly, this last year with COVID kind of messed up my timeline of how things work. So he's 3 or 4 years in the game. What this man can do with his body is unnatural. He's gifted. He's talented. He is athletically gifted. He is gifted in ways athletically that other people do not have. But the reality is he still got to work hard, right? So even though he's gifted athletically, he has the ability to do some things that kind of defy nature when it comes to football. I have seen this man being tackled and brought to the ground and still be able to throw a ball with so much accuracy and power and strength that I'm like, how did he even hit the target? The reality is physics is working against him. How is he defying physics to get this ball into a receiver's hands? I've watched it with my own eyes and been like, what? How is that possible? Right? Part of it is he's talented. The other part is he's worked on some things, and so he also has incredible ability. All right? So you are talented in something. Each and every one of us, we're talented in something. Listen, Tasha, you're talented in something. Eugenia, you're talented in something. Laskaya, you're talented in something. I can't tell who that is behind that face. It just says Facebook name, but you're talented in something. I don't know if it's Orlandria. I don't know if it's Sharitha. I don't know if it's Sheridan. It doesn't matter. You're talented in something. Tanisha, you're talented in something. I got other viewers out there, but because you haven't commented, I don't know who it is. But the point is, you're talented in something. Right? You are talented in something. And whatever that is that you are talented in, it comes easy for you. The rest of us have to work at it. All right? So business, what it does as an industry is it rewards you for the things that you are talented at when you figure out what they are and when you understand how to create them and package them in a valuable way. Business rewards you for that. In addition to that, when you have an ability to do something, and this is the cool thing about abilities, y'all, you don't have to be born with them. You just got to work on them. Let me tell you, I sucked at closing. I was not talented at closing. I had to work on closing sales over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I'm still working on it because I still need to get better, right? Working on it over and over and over. And so the point is this, when you work on those things, your ability grows. You sharpen your skill set, then you have talents, you package those things up, you be able to package them in a way that people want to buy them, and it's valuable, they will buy them, you will make sales. It's a meritocracy because it's all based upon your abilities and your talents. It is not based upon what family you are born into. It is not based upon class. It is not based upon privilege. It is not based upon wealth. That's what business is. It is imperative to understand how business works, because if you do not, you will be like oh my God, millions of people out here who are launching these side hustles that never get off the ground because they think business is unfair. Business is not unfair. It is not. When you put things together properly, you win. It's not unfair. All right. So that's one. So understanding how business works. And listen, you guys, there are some gems in this chapter that they're easy to miss because of how the chapter is structured. So it's easy to miss these. One of the things that he points out, that there's been a lot of research done on how business works, how nations function and their economic prosperity or lack thereof, right? So basically, how does business fit in the nation and in the country? And is that nation growing, right? Is it doing well? Is it prospering, or is it not? He says that research has discovered, and he lists several books here that I've added to my book list, right? One is called The Wealth and Poverty of Nations by scholar David Landis. It's either Landis or Lands. I believe it's Landis. Why Nations Fail by James A. Robinson. Civilization, The West and the Rest. And that's by, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to try Niall Ferguson. And then we have Guns, Germs, and Steel by Jared Diamond. I am really looking forward to reading each one of those. Okay, so those books are listed on the bottom of page 96, the top of page 97. What he said, you get more insight in when it comes to these books is this. Nations that prosper and have economic prosperity, their economic performance, this is really solid. This is really good. Is chiefly dependent upon spiritual characteristics rather than physical characteristics. Isn't that interesting? You guys, when I tell you that my mind is being challenged, because I don't know that I've ever thought of nations really being their success as a nation, their economies, their economic success and performance being predicated upon spiritual characteristics and principles. I really think I thought about it more on an individual level. Let me tell you, that's one of the things that I love with age. With age, you realize that you just don't know a lot, that your knowledge is limited. And so you have this thirst for more of it. Like, I just want to understand more and more and more. So as I read a book like this, it makes me want to read another book, and then another book, and another book, and really start to pay attention to some things and dissect it and understand it. I almost feel like there's not enough time to understand everything that I want to understand in this world. Oh my God. But that's the thing about maturity, is you understand that, listen, it's really not about, you guys I'm literally fresh out of the shower, so I'm grooming myself on camera. So crazy. And so it's more about what you don't know. Like, when you start to think, I am where I am because of what I know, dang, it's what I don't know that fuels me and drives me, because there's so much to understand. Oh my God. And so when I think about a country's, a nation's economic performance being predicated upon spiritual characteristics, honestly, you guys, I've never given that much thought before. But he said one of the things that's really important to understand is that this is also true for individuals. Now, I understood it on an individual basis. I didn't necessarily understand it on a national level. I didn't. Stop and think about this. The United States, as much as, God, as many issues as I have with our country, the United States, for the most part, is we're having great economic performance in comparison to other countries. Why is that? Is it because that there are spiritual principles at play that we as a nation have, that we are acknowledging, even if we don't know that we're acknowledging them? Is it because, as he explains, this is so good to me, God, help me break this down in a way that's understandable. Please, Holy Spirit, help me. Is it because, as a nation, we are exercising spiritual principles and we don't even realize that we're exercising them? Okay, let's break this down a little further. He goes into language, how we speak, how a language develops. Now think about this. He says in the Hebrew language, no word exists for winning. Think about it. The lottery. There's no word that exists for winning the lottery. No word in the entire Hebrew language exists that translates to winning. No word. Obviously, in the English language, we have winning and we have earning. We have two different words. They mean two completely different things. Like, we know you go out there, you put in some work, you're going to earn a check. We know this. Well, you don't win a check unless you're doing something like playing the lottery, or unless you're gambling, you're at the casinos, at the boat, then you win, right? Now, he says that in a couple of languages, he uses French, for example. In the French language, there is one word, and that one word it means winning and earning. One word, it means the same thing. So you could use it interchangeably. So I can say, I don't know what the word is, because honestly, y'all, French is one of the hardest language in the world for me to speak. Let's change it to Spanish, because French and Spanish is the same. Spanish, I understand. Okay, so Spanish, there, when you say ganar dinero, okay, it means winning or earning. So I could say gano dinero, like gano dinero. If I said that, the reality is you don't know if I'm saying I won the money or if I earned the money, right? You don't know, because it means the same thing in Spanish. Same thing in French. The word means the same. It means to win and it means to earn. These are clearly two completely different words. In English, we know because we have a word for win and we have earn. They're two completely separate words. We don't use one word to describe them both, right? What he is explaining is that culturally, our language, it affects, what are the right words? It affects, our language affects our culture. Our language affects our culture. Now, in the United States, in English, okay, our language affects our culture. We understand that you could either win money or you can earn money. In Spanish, there's one word that means both. In Hebrew, there's no word for winning. You can only earn money. So what happens if there's no direct translation for winning money? Nobody ever focuses on winning money. If it doesn't exist in your culture, if it doesn't exist, like literally, if it does not exist, then how could you do it? You can't. It doesn't exist. So that means if the only thing that exists in your culture, language-wise, if the only word that exists because we use words to communicate, well, if no word exists for winning, then guess what? You never focus on doing. You never focus on winning. You never focus on winning money. You don't focus on winning the lottery because it doesn't exist. Prayerfully, I'm saying this in a way that is making sense to you guys and is connecting. If the word doesn't exist, guess what? I can't exercise the action because I don't have a word for it. I don't have a word to describe it. I don't have a word to explain it. I don't have a word to talk about it. So it doesn't exist. So because I cannot win money, it doesn't even exist in my culture. It doesn't exist. What does exist in my culture is earning money. That's what exists. So in the Jewish culture, the Jewish religion, what happens in Jewish culture is, in the Jewish society, is that because winning money doesn't exist, they don't focus on trying to win it. Y'all feel me? They only focus on trying to earn it. That's where they focus. How do I earn money? Because they understand that in order to sustain life, in order to live, you must earn money. There is no winning. Now let's go back to the American or English language. I got two words. I got earning, I got winning, right? So because I have these two words, what's going to happen with a lot of people is they're going to go the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance, because now I got winning, I got earning. So if I can win some money, I think I might want to win instead of earning, because winning just requires me to drop $1 in this lottery and move on with my life. And there's a great chance that for this $1, I can get a massive return. Massive. That's easy. Versus what? Putting in some hours, putting in some work, specializing, getting better, studying. You see the difference? Like I'm putting a lot in for that $1 now versus me just dropping $1, getting my ticket, leaving, and making millions, right? So in the English language, obviously, since the word exists for winning, since that word exists, that means that some people are really going to go that path because the word exists. Since it exists, there's a purpose for it. And so people are going to focus, some people are going to focus on trying to win money instead of trying to earn money. Now, let's talk about why is this significant and how it impacts our culture and what it has, the spiritual principles that underlie it. Business is good. Why is business good? The more I study this, y'all, the more I love the idea of being a businesswoman. the more I love that I am an entrepreneur, because I understand that I am providing a service. And see, this is what's amazing about business is God likes business for so many reasons, which we identify here in this chapter. Obviously, there's collaboration, cooperation, and specialization. But before we even get to that, let's just look at the principle underlying our language, winning versus earning. Now, when we earn money, what happens, you guys? We put value out into the atmosphere. We're providing value to people. So, for example, here, this little light, I need to charge it, but this little light is a clip-on light for my phone, right? It clips on my phone. And if I'm doing here, okay, I have myself on camera here. If I'm doing a live video from my phone, my light, this small one, I could turn it on. So now my lighting is good. My lighting is good now. All right. So what does that mean? That means that when I bought this light, somebody created this because they saw a need in the marketplace, right? They saw a need. They thought, I'm going to fulfill this need. People need small lights, not like the big one I have behind the computer right now. Sometimes people just need small ones. So I'm going to create a small light that people can clip on their phone or clip on their tablet, because they go live on their tablets a lot. We use our mobile devices for like everything. So I'm going to create this small light. So what they did was they created this light. And then guess what I did? I went on Amazon looking for a light, a clip-on light. And so I bought this, and let's just say it cost $10, because I don't remember. I've had it for a while. Let's say it was $10. So I bought this clip-on light, $10. Now, guess what happened? They earned $10 because I gave my $10 to them because I wanted the light. So guess what? Everybody's happy. They're happy because they created this to sell. They sold it. I gave them $10, right? So they got their money. They're happy. Guess what? I'm happy because I gave them $10 and I got my product, which I wanted to clip on my phone so I could have better lighting. I'm happy too. Both parties are happy. Both parties are satisfied. It is literally a win-win situation. I'm happy because I got my product. They're happy because they got paid. That is business. They created something valuable. I needed it. We're both happy. That is business. What happens when you win something? When I win something, guess what happens? I win, and that would imply that there's a loser somewhere. That is not what God wanted. Let me explain it this way. So you may be thinking to me, no. I won in a slot machine. Nobody lost. Yeah, a lot of people lost. Everybody that put money in the slot machine that did not get a return. Every quarter, every nickel, every penny, whatever is in there, a lot of somebody's lost those pennies, those nickels, those quarters in order for you to win those pennies, those nickels, and those quarters. That is not a win-win situation. There's clearly a winner, clearly a loser. Those are the spiritual principles that underlie the concept of winning versus earning. See, in the Hebrew language, which is God's language, there is no word for winning because God understood we needed to earn. Y'all, that is powerful. That is so powerful because these are things that we don't think about until we study it. See, we grew up speaking English. We grew up in our culture. And so, of course, as we grow up, we learn that you can win some things and you can earn too. And we know that winning money is a lot easier. It's a path of least resistance than earning it, right? But the reality is a lot of the times when we're trying to win, we lose a lot. And every time somebody wins, a lot of somebodies lose. That is not what God designed. Language impacts our culture. All right. A lot of us have never thought about it to this degree, ever. I would be one of those a lot of bodies. I never thought about it to this degree. Language impacts our culture. All right. And see, the reality is we do business in various cultures. So are some countries prospering more because they have economic systems that honestly take spiritual components of principles, and they don't even know that they're using these spiritual principles, but they are. And so we'll have principles like free enterprise. Free enterprise is powerful. In the United States, we have free enterprise. You can sell pretty much whatever you want as long as it's not illegal. You create something valuable, like a clip-on light. Somebody needs it, they buy it. God blesses that. God blesses that. Okay? Versus a system where people are forced to do things that they don't want to do. Forced to. Free enterprise says that you can do things, you cooperate willingly. When you have a completely different economic system, for example, communism, you're not cooperating willingly. You're forced to cooperate. They're completely different, winners and losers. Okay. Not a political debate, but what it is, it's allowing us to take the time to question, right? So in this case, this is one that is a little bigger than what a lot of us have ever really taken the time to think about. But it's really important because there are spiritual implications in how we apply it to everyday life, even our economic performance as a nation. That's big. Y'all, we just trying to get a check. Think about that. You're just trying to get a check. But now it's bigger than just that check. Okay? It's bigger than just your sale. So that's why language is so important. Okay? Now let's fast forward a little bit. So now, is business unfair? Let's think about that some more. We talked about when we started, there are people that think business is innately unfair. We talked about why are they doing so great versus me? Like, what secret sauce are they keeping from me that they're not telling me? Why are they prospering? What am I missing? What is it? Look at it. People don't think that other forms of business are unfair. He uses the idea or the example of the NFL, which is a great example because I love football. Let's dig into it. I'll use Patrick Mahomes again as an example. You guys, Patrick Mahomes was paid one of the largest historically. He was paid more than any other quarterback in NFL history. When they wrote his contract and he signed it. In history. Like, it was insane. I think it was like a $50 million contract. It was the largest contract ever. I used to know the numbers because I was just in awe of this contract. Nobody questioned it. You know why we didn't question it? Because we see how he is just like, he defies nature on the field. We see how effective he is. He was literally 2 years in his career and took his team all the way to the Super Bowl. That's not normal. We've seen what he's been able to do. We've seen what his reps off the field have been able to produce on the field. Because remember, you get paid and you get recognized in public for what you do in private. When you do the work in private, guess what? It shows publicly and people recognize you publicly for it. So he's on the field killing it. And as such, he got a huge, ridiculously large contract. Nobody ever questioned it. It makes sense that he would get a contract like that. Why wouldn't he? Right? Nobody questions it. Now he also uses an example of actors and actresses. So let's think of somebody whom I have been in love with for a very long time. Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington produced hit after movie after hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. Just movie after movie, string of movies. He's an insanely amazing actor. Insane how he can get into a character, become it, and produce such beauty on screen. None of us question the fact that he's a very high-paid, sought-after actor. Even as he gets older, he's still acting. None of us question it. Nobody questions it. We feel like, listen, if he gets paid millions to work on a project, millions plural, to work on one project for 1 year, so be it. To work on one project for 6 months, so be it. We see the fruits of his labor. We get to enjoy the fruits of his labor. But what happens when we talk about business, when we see like a CEO and we find out that they're making astronomical amounts of money, multiple millions, multiple tens of millions a year, we question it. Because you know what we see when we see a CEO? We see somebody who sits in a desk in an office that has a beautiful corner office. You know what we see. Think about it. They got the beautiful corner office all the way upstairs on the whateverth floor with all the windows. They can see all of the city. They're on the phone constantly, looking good. And what are they doing to earn those kinds of millions, tens of millions of dollars a year? Like, what are you really doing? Do you guys know businessmen and women are paid more? Like, on average, they make more than any other profession. Sports, entertainment, like, they make more. The top business professionals make more than any other profession, y'all. Like, that's a big deal. We have people come out of the sporting industry and go into business. I think someone like a Magic Johnson. I think of someone like a Michael Jordan. I think of someone like LeBron James, who's doing it now. Like, they come out of the sporting industry as they retire and they go into entrepreneurship and become a business professional. We have people who come out of entertainment, they retire from entertainment, they become successful business professionals, and they make even more as a business professional than they do as an entertainer, than they do as an elite athlete. Why are they paid so much? Why? Because see, the top highest earning individuals in business, you guys, they are impactful at a level most of us don't understand until we get there. They have the networks. They can literally make a phone call because they're connected to people. Remember, he taught us in some secrets prior that your people that have the largest networks, the most impactful, largest networks, they are literally the ones that have the largest net worth. Literally. And a lot of people think the money comes first and then the people come. No, they built these networks as they were building their fortunes. And so their network came first before the millions and the billions came. So your CEO, that your top CEOs that are making astronomical amounts of money that would be challenging for a lot of people to even understand, they come with a network that matches what it is they're getting paid with the company. That's one. Or it exceeds what they're getting paid. Check this out. They come with a level of expertise and experience that other people just don't have. He uses the example of during the mortgage crisis, during the housing crisis, there was one mortgage company that they got rid of their CEO and they hired Warren Buffett. And why did they hire Warren Buffett? They hired him because they needed him or their company was going to fail. See, your really amazing CEOs and business professionals, you guys, they come with a reputation. We often think of Warren Buffett when we think of business, and we will use him as a litmus test as to whether or not an idea is a sound idea. I remember having a conversation with my dad about cryptocurrency, about Bitcoin specifically. And he was like, Demita, if it's so good, then how come people like Warren Buffett aren't talking about it? I said, Dad, Warren Buffett does not like cryptocurrency. And for him, that was significant enough for him to question it. That's how solid a reputation Warren Buffett has. That's how solid that people, if he doesn't believe in something, if he doesn't back it, then they're like, I don't know if I should back it. Listen, this is huge. This is why business professionals are paid so much. His reputation preceded him. So when he came to that company, he could have named whatever figure he wanted to name and they would have paid it. But this is what I want you guys to pick up, is that they extended that company credit because Warren Buffett started, because he became the head of the company. Because of his reputation, lenders now trusted a company that they did not trust before. They didn't trust the leadership. But under the leadership of Warren Buffett, they thought, okay, listen, we're going to go ahead and extend credit. And he was able to keep that business open and thriving and going and saved a whole company. That's why CEOs are paid astronomical amounts of money that the average person would never understand. See, politicians don't say to Patrick Mahomes, let me see your income taxes. But they will say it to a CEO, let me see your income taxes. And why did you make so much money? Well, the reality is I'm helping keep this economy going because I'm the person that's helping keep this business running that employs over 500,000 people. See what I'm saying? It's powerful. And because God smiles upon free enterprise, because it encourages collaboration. Listen, y'all, we cannot get to where we want to be in business without collaborating with other people. We've already talked at length over several secrets about you cannot do things in a vacuum. You cannot do things in isolation and expect your business to prosper. You absolutely cannot. Tanisha had this most beautiful testimony that I'll pray, you know what, Tanisha, if you could share that in the group, that would be so amazing. But she had this beautiful testimony of how she went out and she wasn't even trying really hard, but she did want to focus on growing her network and meeting people. And she had a beautiful encounter last week with a young lady at the laundromat. And as she connects with people, she said, you know what? I'm not about to force these connections. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to ask for their phone numbers right away. Cause that's weird. Like, we just getting to know each other and you asking me out already. Like, that's weird. You know what I mean? This is our first date and you asking me to marry you. It's weird. And that's what a lot of us do. We move too fast in these connections and in our network because we're looking at people as customers. She did not do that, y'all. And because she didn't do that, guess what happened? They connected on social media. The young lady was like, you sell cupcakes? You got a cupcake company? Wow. She was like, I definitely am interested in that. She never even said what she did. Never said what she did. Never tried to get her as a customer. Never. But she did. All she did was try to connect. Genuinely connect. You guys, business, you cannot do it in a vacuum. Business, you cannot be in isolation and think you're going to have this massive enterprise. When we just talked about CEOs and elite business professionals who make tens of millions a year, their network is part of that. They are paid for the fact that they go out there and they intentionally create and make or nurture beautiful relationships. All right. So that's how business works. Now, how do we this is the second part of this second part of this chapter. One, understanding that business is not unfair. It's a meritocracy that rewards you for your ability and your talents. That's one. Two, you also get paid more when you specialize, when you cooperate. He also brings up Jacob. Remember in the Bible, we always say father. The father of Abraham, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? He's talking about Jacob here. When he talks about Jacob, Giselle, is that you? Okay. When he talks about Jacob, this is the interesting thing. He talks about how as Jacob was dying, one of the things he did was he blessed each one of his children. And that's where the 12 tribes of Israel come from. And I love how he said, and hence Judaism was born. It was a beautiful thing the way he described it. So he blesses each one of his children. And he literally tells them, you will do this. You will do this. You will do this. And he goes through all 12 of his children. 12 tribes of Israel. What he did in blessing each one of them was he gave them each a specialty. They could not be independent of one another. They had to be interdependent upon one another because one would specialize in one thing, and so everybody else would need them for that specialty. And then another would specialize in something else, and everybody else would need them for that specialty. And so he created the 12 tribes of Israel, but they were interdependent upon one another. And so that concept of specialization still is important to us today. When we look at an example that he put in here, he talks about a couple different farmers. It's a really oversimplified example, but it's perfect to understand how this works. Like, think about this, like in everyday terms. Bring this concept to today, and you will see why it's so important to specialize. And you will see why a lot of people that we interact with who are like, want to do everything. Oh my God, they do everything. They sell cupcakes. They do balloon arches. They do own a salon, or they do hair. What else do they do? Let's see. They do lawn care. Like, they do all these things. And guess what happens? They're limiting their income and their revenue because they do too many things that all are completely different. He gives an example of a couple different types of farmers, and they run into one another. One has sheep. Well, prior to running into one another, they did everything. So a farmer would have sheep, he'd have cows, he'd have pigs, he'd have chickens, he'd have everything, and he'd do everything for himself. Well, then these two farmers run into one another, and one notices that his milk, that other farmer's milk, is really like rich and creamy. And he's like, I don't produce milk like that for my cows. Like, I want to get milk from you because your milk tastes better than my milk. So obviously you know something that I don't know. I'd rather just get my milk from you. Well, as he's getting his milk from the other farmer, he also notices that his clothing, not such good quality. Well, he happens to be the person who's getting milk from farmer A. Farmer B happens to also, of course, have cows and sheep and everything, but he's really good with the wool from his sheep producing really good clothing. So farmer A says, listen, you're good with clothing. I think I want to get my clothes from you. Why don't we trade? I'll give you milk. You give me clothing. Perfect, right? So now they are a little bit of specializing here. So one farmer, now he no longer has to focus on, his cows and milk. No longer has to focus on that. While the other farmer no longer really has to focus on his sheep and shearing the sheep and creating the wool sweaters and the wool clothing. He no longer has to focus on that. So what now happens? Farmer B, who is getting his milk from farmer A, realizes, I got all these cows that I don't need anymore because I'm not producing milk. I'm getting it from farmer A. So guess what he does now? He goes back to farmer A and says, listen, I don't need all these cows, but you don't need all those sheep. How about we switch that too? So now they switch animals. So now all the sheep are with farmer B. All the cows are with farmer A. Now farmer A can focus more on producing milk that he's also sharing and trading with farmer B and vice versa, right? Then at the same time, there's another farmer down the road that one of them realizes is really good with something else. I don't remember the example that he put in there, but he's good with, let's just say, eggs. His eggs are amazing. So the two farmers, A and B, start to talk about farmer C, who produces like the best eggs. And now guess what happens? They go and they communicate to him. And now you got a third farmer participating in this specialized market. Now they get to trade amongst one another. All the chickens end up with farmer C. Farmer A has all the cows. Farmer B has all the sheep. And now specialization is born. The moment they start to trade or barter or give one for the other, free enterprise is born. Now, if we look at this and we bring this to our current life, how does that affect us, or how does that principle impact us today? Listen, it impacts us this way. I could focus on so many things that I do well, y'all. Let me give you an example. I'm really good at creating funnels. Part of what I used to do, marketing funnels. So I would do email campaigns for clients. I would create these email campaigns. In addition to email campaigns, I would create these marketing funnels that had these beautiful landing pages, which take a lot of time, but I still can do that. Now I could focus on those things. Abso-freaking-lutely. I could do that. Then I could also focus on, Christian coaching. Then I could also focus on helping people understand entrepreneurship and, cryptocurrencies as ways for them to invest their money and build their wealth for the kingdom. I could focus on so many different things, but guess what I did? I took funnels out of the equation. And guess what? Now, if I need a funnel done, or if I know someone who needs a funnel done, I can point them to the right person and I can completely take that off the table. And I can focus on and specialize in coaching, Christian coaching specifically, and helping recirculate money in the kingdom, helping the individuals that I'm coaching use the vehicle of entrepreneurship, use the vehicle of something like cryptocurrency to continue to build wealth. And guess what? We recirculate that money in the kingdom. That's where I specialize. Yes, I could specialize and focus on other things. But when I specialize now, I specialize in this. Another person specializes in something else. Guess what happens? Our value goes up because we produce content, we produce products, we produce services that are even more valuable to the public or to our target audiences, respectively. Guess what happens then? When we produce this, someone else wants it. And now when I sell it to them, they're excited to have it. I'm happy because I sold it and I received payment for it. They're happy because they paid for it and they got what they wanted. Both parties are happy, and so is God, because it encourages cooperation and it encourages specialization. That is how business is meant to work. Y'all, that's powerful to me. That is so powerful. It says that if you are going to be taken seriously in the business world, you must take the business world seriously. Give your due diligence to understanding business, or you will have no place in it. And you do want a place in the business world, or you should. Business is a spiritual endeavor, and it brings us closer to one another and closer to God. And all we are in business, and we are all, in business, all of us who work and provide services to our fellow man. So unless you're independently wealthy or homeless and not looking for work, you are assuredly in business. And this is a good thing. Business brings us closer together. Business is one of God's plans to keep us connected with each other and slowly trudging toward the vision of a greater unity that is God Himself. Y'all, that's so powerful. The last thing that I will say, and we are wrapping this up. You guys, we did this in under an hour today. That's so cool. It is only, I highlighted this, it is only by following God's rules of ongoing and constant cooperation that we can create enough for everyone. God designed business to keep us in cooperation with one another. We specialize because it keeps us in cooperation with one another. Also, when we specialize, we can increase the value of what we do, and that will increase your earnings. Business is a meritocracy. It is not unfair. It will reward you for your ability and your talents. If you want to become more able, if you want your abilities to increase, you got to increase your value. What does that mean? That means you train. That means you build and hone those skills. Yes, like I said, speaking is a talent for me. But if I want to do it better and better, I got to hone that skill. I got to sit down and I got to think. I got to learn how people consume information, because I could just share it the way I want to share it. But if I want people to retain it, if I want them to get something from it, then I got to learn how people consume information. I got to learn how to put it in bite-sized, manageable chunks for people. I have to learn how to express it in a way that's compelling enough that people want to listen. That's how you hone your skills. I can't ignore it and just be like, oh, talent alone is going to get me there. No, it won't. Talent is one of the components, but honing those skills and abilities, that's another part. So I pray that this was helpful for y'all. This was a good chapter for me. It's all those little bits and pieces that make this stuff so good, y'all. So listen, tomorrow we are digging into secret number 14, and it states that each and every one of us is in business and should act like a business professional, y'all. Okay. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Make it a magnificent Monday. Love y'all to life. Thank you so much for being here. There is no book club. There is nothing without you joining in, and y'all join every single day. And I'm grateful. And I don't take that for granted. But you know what I would love? Share your testimonies in the group. Let us know. How is this helping you? How have you been able to put any of it to use and seen some results from it? Like Tanisha says, she's going to share with us. So I love you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day. And I will see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern. Bye-bye.